hanging on the wall, which my daughter picked up at a school. Uh, what do I have now? They're having like a school flea market. A nice a Corsair. I think it's a Corsair. It looks like it at least. But all kinds of stuff hanging, bric-a-brac hanging on the wall here. So, and what else I collect? Oh, keys. I got an old a flame-proof Navy key, which I paid dearly for the thing, but I always liked them. I think I paid $75 for the thing. You know, back in the day on Cortlandt Street in Manhattan, you could buy them for $1. Now it's you're hard pressed to find them at all. So, well, so much for that. See, what time is it? 7:01. So I got a little more. I got a little more time before I have to leave the house here. So I'll turn it back to George, and George maybe can pick up the breaking station there. So N2LJO, KC2CKO, over.
K1GMM.
Okay, Steve will get it right over to you, and then it goes to Jeff, WA2RAS, Sis N2LJO, and okay. Collectibles. Yeah, well, Frank, I collect albums too. I have a bunch of albums, I have a bunch of CDs, I have the coins, I have the cars we were talking about yesterday. I'm going to take a count between the garage and the house. I'm going to say somewhere well over 100 of the model cars I have. I know 3 or 4 of them alone are Chevelles. I should send you some pictures, Frank. One of my favorite cars, man. It's just not too long, not too short, not too wide, not too narrow, not too fat, not too skinny. It was just like the perfectly shaped car. Really beautiful. Never had one. Got to drive a bunch of them over the years, but, well, when I was a kid. But beautiful car. And let's see, phone numbers. That was when you were talking about the GPS and all. That was the thing I thought of before you said it. Even who the hell remembers, phone numbers anymore? And I remember numbers like you said from when you're 6 and 7 and 8 years old. I still do. I remember my grandmother 460. It was Ingersoll 2 3510. When you had, you're right, it was related to the exchange that it went through, where they did all the plugging of cables and the relays or whatever. The telephone exchange, and we had a couple of exchanges in Flatbush. And it might even pertain to your town, like Peekskill. Our number, I think, is for Peekskill, 737, even though we're not in Peekskill. And if I call you from the house phone, it'll come up on the caller ID, Peekskill, New York. Or Yonkers, 96, YO, my store, YO3. But so my grandmother was Ingersoll 2 3510, and that was when the whole 5 boroughs was all 212. There was no 718 or 347 or 646 or any of that, and everything up north, Westchester, Rockland, and all was all 914. There was no 845 area code. That started later on too. Yeah, 718. That's right. Exactly. So, but yeah, I used to remember a lot of phone numbers, and even when I had the store, I didn't rely on memory in the phone system or whatever. I used to know. I still remember numbers of most of my big customers. And it's just the way it is now. But the GPS also is good sometimes if you're doing other things, or if you have someone in the car and you're having conversations. You'll sometimes, where you're going, but you might forget to make a turn. So the GPS is good to have running, even if you know where you're going. Sometimes, you don't always need it, but sometimes, because it'll remind you, oh yeah, I got to get over, And Jeff, I know a lot about the trolley system in Brooklyn, believe me. And I was fortunate. I went to the Trolley Museum up in East Haven, Connecticut. I actually got to operate a couple of trolley cars up there, and a subway car. That was a hoot, man. A red 1955 IRT R17 Redbird. I got to operate that thing, and that was a lot of fun. So anyway, Steve, I will get it over to you. and you can hand it over to Jeff, WA2RAS, K1GMM in the group N2LJO.
George, did you not hear me sign in?
No, I didn't hear you at all.
Okay, well, I'm doing it now then. Wow, I wonder what that was about.
K2XA.
Because I wasn't here before.
Go ahead, Steve. K1IC.
Okay. Good morning, Gary. I was going to bring you in before me because you hit it before I did. I heard you come in, but good morning, everybody. And Kevin jumped in there. So I'm going to, if you want to, Gary, put it back to George or whatever. You can do whatever you want, of course. See if we can get Kevin in here, too. Get him into the lineup. Good morning. Boy, a lot going on. I don't really collect anything, Frank. I'm kind of a hoarder. I used to do model airplanes when I was a kid. And regarding the telephone numbers, 379-3774. That was the number I grew up with ever since I was a very young child. And we moved out of that house, I think, when I was about 13. So I still remember that number and my grandparents' number, 2203 from Connecticut. But that's about it. And like I think you said, or everybody said, I used my phone. And I went through a period where I refused to use remember when the smartphones were starting to get popular? I didn't think they were very smart, so I didn't get into the cell phone business for a long, long time. Now, moving on to the GPS stuff, I got to try and wrap this up because it's a growing group. I spend a lot of my mornings, I'm getting into overlanding and mostly trail cruising. Nothing heavy duty. As you guys know, I bought a Jeep and it's lifted and it's modded and she's sort of ready to go. I got to do some geometry corrections on the suspension. I'm waiting for some warm weather, but I spend my mornings looking at what's called Gaia GPS and Onyx Off-Road. And it provides GPS tracking and acquisition of like class 4 roads, trails, town highways, stuff like that, so you can plot your routes and do all kinds of things. So I was watching a video this morning of the Trans New Hampshire overland route, and it was video during the fall. What a beautiful area. So this morning I was kind of farting around trying to plot a route in New Hampshire, a multi-day route. They say it takes about 3 days. If you're a photographer, it'll take easily 4. So I thought, boy, that'd be a heck of a trip. So anyways, I think that ties everything off, trying to touch base on what everybody was talking about. Over to you, Gary, K1IC, K1GMM, and see if you guys can figure out where Kevin is at. Go ahead.
Yeah, give it to Jeff, and then let Jeff pick up Kevin and Gary.
I did not hear yet, but probably, well, whatever that happened. And good morning to Jeff. Of course, to you, Steve. George, you sounded great here. Paul, you're stronger this morning. You're 20 over 9. And Frank is 30. Everybody else is 30 over 9 here in Fairfield. Well, I just say that, Paul, you really stirred some memories here. I bought an MG Midget in 1972, and I think I sold it somewhere around 84. It was a great car, and I took it to Europe with me and drove it all over Europe and then brought it back here and drove it all the way across country and down into Mexico and back. It really worked well. It's a fascinating little car. And I also had a Honda Nighthawk. I think it was 1984. That's also gone, but that was a nice commuter bike to have and to ride. It wasn't too shaky, so it was pleasant to go out on Sundays with other guys. And we used to go to a place called, what was it in Danbury? It was a milk store. Dairy store. I can't remember it'll come to me, but all the motorcycles would meet there on a Sunday morning, and it was just a wild time. It was pretty good. And as far as phone exchanges go, from ours was Sunset SU, Sunset 1, And then they had Sunset 5, and then they went to Castle after the population kept growing. CA. And I don't know whether it was CA7 or CA1 or whatever. I don't remember so much. But anyway, funny stuff. Okay, so keeping it short, it's cold here. It's 21 degrees at the moment, and it's supposed to get colder and colder over the last couple of days before it warms up again. All right, Kevin, if you're there, pick it up, K2XAM. If not, it goes over to Jeff, WA2RAS. This is K1IC.
I was going to say let Jeff have it and pick up Kevin, but whatever.
All right. Well, let me grab it. Anyways, good morning. I'm not completely sure what the what the subject matter is this morning, but good morning anyways, all the way around. Steve, Gary, George, Jeff, Paul's name was mentioned. Good morning, Paul. I'm not sure who else. Sorry, I don't mean to miss anybody. Just got in here. Getting a little bit of a late start has been happening more and more. More and more of late. I don't know. Anyways, about 11 degrees here, cloudy. And yeah, we're going into the deep freeze beginning at midnight. The high temperature tomorrow is now forecast to be 5. Count them all on one hand, 5 degrees. Oh, Frank's in here too. Good morning, Frank. I heard your name mentioned. Gosh, 5 degrees tomorrow, and not a whole lot more than that on Sunday, but they're saying maybe by Wednesday we'll get up to 33 and finally end up breaking the freezing mark. Well, I remember a lot of phone numbers from when I was a kid, and it happens. I have my dad's cell phone, which was our house number when I was a kid over in the Saratoga region. Yeah, my sister said to me, this after about a week after my dad died, hey, can you take care of Dad's phone and get rid of it? That sort of thing. I said, yeah, sure. I said, is it all right with you if I just end up putting the bill in my name? She goes, just do whatever you want. Just get it out of his name. I don't want to see any more bills for it. So I just, I keep paying it. It's like $23 a month or something. And it's the phone number I grew up with as a kid. But I remember tons of phone numbers from back, in the 70s and 80s when I was, much younger. I can't remember anything for 5 minutes. So if it weren't for having a smartphone, I would probably have a big giant Rolodex or something with everybody's name and number in it, which I did have a Rolodex, back to in the 80s and 90s with all the station call letters and who the station mismanagers were and all of that sort of stuff. To contact people that I needed to let know what was going on when badness was happening. GPSs, I'm not sure what the topic is with the GPSs, but I still have a Garmin that's got the suction cup on the dashboard. I know there's a way to do it through the screen in the car, but all of my addresses and everything, of like how to get to the hotel for Nearfest and stuff like that is in the old GPS and has just never gotten transferred. All right, so there's a buzzard for 3 minutes. Jeff, on over to you. Good morning, WA2, RAS, K2XAM, and the big group.
Yeah, okay. Very good. K2XAM, the 17 stations that checked in before me. It's WA2 RAS. Well, getting back to the topic at hand, in Brooklyn, we were Dewey. I guess I'll always remember the Dewey 64910. That was my number. There was a record. We'll get the records in a second. By Tommy Tutone, which was the phone number. Remember that one? 8675309. Terrible music. I mean, not Tommy Tutone, me. I can't carry a two-tone. And as far as Frank, as far as collecting records, I can certainly identify with that. My dad was in the TV radio repair business, and he had a ton of LPs and 78, and later in life, after he passed, I didn't even have a phonograph at that point. However, one of my friends, who you may know of, Hal, K60TZ, he loved classical music, and in fact, it wasn't just classical; it was popular music, popular music of the 1940s, 50s. So I gave all the records, and I must have been at least 100, maybe 200 of them. I gave them all to Hal, K60TZ. And then, unfortunately, Hal went off the rails, and eventually, everything from Hal was dissipated, along with all the records I gave him. Well, I hope somebody is enjoying them somewhere. Anyway, I gotta jump. I do have another. This isn't exactly a net, more of a round table, but I do have a net that I tend to run. So 73 guys, very enjoyable conversation, and I will turn it over to my good friend Frank. Nice to hear everybody this morning. W2 SDR, WA2 RAS.
Yeah, okay, Jeff. WA2 RAS, W2 SDR. Well, hoarding, I guess, is a different thing than collecting. I mean, people equate one to the other maybe at times, but I think hoarders, people that tend to hoard, they save everything across the board. It's always hard not to have stuff pile up. I mean, the dining room table, the countertops, the basement. I mean, stuff grows, and human beings have to make a concerted effort not to get overwhelmed with stuff. Everybody does. I just think it's probably human nature to a point. But then, of course, like anything else, people can go way overboard. The prefixes, exchanges, Madison, Ludlow, Howard is another one, Wilson. They stick with you like crazy. Those things, they're buried in your, burned into your brain. The useless information is useless, really. It'd be nice to clean it out. Well, it's like hoarding. You hoard information. Clean it out, and then you get room for more pertinent things today, But yeah, it's going to get cold again. We got these warnings, wind warnings, cold warnings, every kind of warning coming our way. I wonder if you checked in with the net last night, Gary. I haven't. I'm kind of losing interest in nets. We talked about this yesterday briefly, and I think Steve had the best tack. It was either Steve or Kevin about the lack of interaction. Not that everybody has to comment on what I have to say, or that I have to comment on everything that everybody else has to say. But so many times in these nets, no one comments on what I have to say, and I don't want to comment on anything that they have to say, because there's a disconnect in interest. And, it's not a conversation. And some of these nets are so long. I mean, I always, when I was going to school, I would love to attend lectures on somebody that was really interesting. If I had to sit there for an hour and listen to multiple lecturers that I don't care what they had to say, I'd be squirming in my seat. So there you go. That's kind of off the topic here. Let me look at the clock. I guess I got one more round with the crowd here. So Steve, Kevin, and Steve and Kevin and Gary, the guys that broke in later, are coming in real good here. So everybody's got a really nice signal here this morning. So it's just going to Paul, KC2CKO, and the group W2SDR. Hey, Paul.
Yeah, W2SDR, KC2CKO. I think we have pretty good interaction with this group here. You know, all the comments and topics. You never know what's going to come up during the time. And I just remembered. Oh my goodness, as not even a teenager, even a young child. Their phone number on Staten Island, GI8 3400, Gibraltar, GI8 3400. Oh my goodness. So at that, I'm going to have to say 73s and get ready to go to work for a while here. But everybody have a great one, and we'll catch you in here tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. So at that, back over to George, N2LJO, KC2CKO, over and out.
Okay, Paul, KC2CKO and the group N2LJO. Very good. Well, 7-3 to you. I'm going to make this one my last two. And, we had three guys new come in right in a row, and I try to avoid that because it's when you're the fourth guy, it sucks. And I've been there. And, it could be you. So we had a new guy pick up a new guy, pick up a new guy, and Jeff was sitting there on his thumb. So we try to avoid that. In any event, Gedney was an exchange in Brooklyn, and Dewey and Buckminster and Ingersoll. And I resisted the smartphone thing for a long time, too. And then when I did get a smartphone, I didn't want to text. So don't text. I don't text. I don't want to text. I didn't want to.
It was different then because you had to do that.
I didn't want to be texting on that little tiny keyboard. Yes, where you didn't have auto. You didn't have autocomplete.
Well, which the numbers had the letters, and you had to push the number 3-5 times to get the.
But the autocomplete is sometimes not good either, and in the email also, you're trying to say something and then it changes the word. You know.
You could turn it off.
So, but I resisted texting for a long time, and to this day, I get, I get other agents or whatever that texting me, and I'm like, do me a favor, this is something we might have to refer back to. Send me an email. Don't text me. I don't want to, want to have a chain. I want to have a chain of evidence in case somebody says we didn't do something. Email me. Don't text me. So that's all I've got. Let's see. I guess it goes to Steve. I'll say 7-3. You guys carry on. And we'll catch you probably Monday, realistically. Yeah, I don't usually get on here on the weekend. So everybody have a good weekend and a warm weekend. And stay warm and keep the thermostat up. Don't sit in the cold. K1GMM in the group, N2LJO.
N2 LJO, I forgot your call. I was thinking about something. George, just to let you know, if I ever come in and there's like a train wreck of a bunch of people, you can stick me in the, in the roster anywhere. I don't care. I don't need to, doesn't matter when I come in, if I'm first in line or third or fourth in line, just stick me in wherever. Just letting you know. K1GMM. Let's see. Something kind of funny. This is in reference to what you were talking about, Frank, between a hoarder and a collector, I think you were saying. My brother, he's a master at this. He told me years ago, he said, anything you store that is not used in 6 months, get rid of it. He has the freaking cleanest house I have ever seen. And he's into a lot of stuff, man. But it is very compartmentalized. It's very clean. He has like a little mini studio. He has only what he needs, and that is it. Anything that he doesn't use in 6 months gets sold or it gets thrown in the friggin' trash. It's beautiful. See, now I am completely opposite of him, and he's disgusted by it, which I find really funny. Anyways, let's see what else. A little bit about myself. I do not like large groups. I'm in here only when I feel like I have something to contribute or say. Kevin and I have had phenomenal, not many. What would you say, Kevin? Maybe 3 or 4 one-on-one QSOs on AM right here. Usually on the weekends. And I've kind of missed you on the weekends. We've had some fantastic one-on-one QSOs. And I love that because I get to know a person. And that's my whole goal, is we've talked about a lot of, kind of personal stuff. And I'm sure people have been listening, but it's been very interesting. And I need to be challenged. Stimulated, mentally stimulated. It's just me. It's the way I am. Let's see. Someone mentioned something. I'm trying to keep, I should have wrote everything down. Oh, I am live streaming this. So this is going live to YouTube on my YouTube channel. You can find it just by clicking K1GMM. You can see the setup I'm running and the hardware, mostly the hardware, but the software and all the other garbage. Let's see. I don't know. I had a brain fart and there was something I wanted to say that just eluded me. So let's move along. K1IC, K1GMM.
Okay, excellent. K1GMM, K1IC. Yeah, I've been to your website. You had really nice photos. We've got to talk about that sometime. Love to hear more about it. Anyway, you put me on the dark table and I am doing it every day and trying to learn more. I got to watch a lot of videos. They go way too fast. And there's sometimes the quality's not good in terms of video, and they are not directed enough in showing how to do things, but at least you get some idea of what to do. So that's good. Anyway, terrific. Let me see, Jeff, you were 18 over 9, and let's see, Kevin, you were 25 over 9 here. So that's when you last made your transmission. Terrific. Frank, the SNS Net agreed. I have not been on it for the last 3 or 4 days, and I'm not sure I'm going to go back in a hurry because it's sometimes it's quite interesting to listen actually to the pre-net. But when you get on the regular net, it's, I brushed my teeth yesterday and ran out of toilet paper and things like that. So, smartphone use. My favorite phone was the Motorola flip phone, probably somewhere in the 90s. And boy, I did like that phone. But I finally had to get myself a smartphone, and I use it. But the texting's a pain in the neck, right? Especially if you use the voice part, it works fine. Sometimes it decides on a word that shouldn't be there. But when you type with your fat fingers, it can get pretty tricky. But the more you use it, the better you get. But I don't use it enough to get good at it. So I just suffer with it. And the 6-month junk rule, Steve, that's an interesting notion. So this guy must have no Christmas decorations because you only use that once a year. And I'm thinking in my case, that lawnmower would be thrown out too, because a lawnmower gets used in the May, well, maybe May, but certainly June is the big heavy month, and maybe a little bit of July, and then it dries out and you don't need it anymore until the next May. So you'd have to throw that one out too. So I'm not sure that rule works quite well, but I can see it will certainly pare down a whole lot of stuff you have. And this whole room would probably be, well, half this room would be gone if I did use that rule. All right. So with me, it goes over to Kevin. K2XAM, K1IC.
WA1MYQ. All right. I think I hear Scott in there too. Good morning to Scott. And let's see. So I was going to comment. Yeah, well, Steve and I have had a handful of really fun conversations, and I don't know. I like this group. I like this group generally. I think we have a lot of fun in here, and I think all of us try to keep our comments down to around 3 minutes, so everybody gets a chance, more than once or twice going around here in the morning and so forth. I tried that rule. I don't remember if I called it the 6-month rule, but it was one of those things where I might have made it a 1 year or 2 year rule. And I ended up actually selling off a lot of stuff on eBay that I kind of, looking back, wish that maybe I hadn't sold, because I end up going through these different phases or stages or whatever, in my life, where I get really involved with a particular item or setup or situation, and then after a year or two, I end up getting bored with it and set it aside. And then maybe 5 years later or 10 years later, I'm like, hey, I want to dig that out and play with it again. Well, there are quite a few items I can't dig out and play with again because I don't have them anymore. And you look on eBay for replacements, and either they look like they got run over by a UPS truck, and whoever had them, left them out in the lake for a year, and, that sort of thing. And so, or they want $1 million for it, and, they want $1 million for something they left out in the rain or something like that, and it just isn't as pretty, and so I don't ultimately end up buying it. And I don't know. I'm actually at the point in my life, though, where I'm getting kind of sick of tripping over stuff, and it's very possible there's going to be a 40-yard dumpster in my future this summer, because I'm just at the point where I'm just tired of the potential of twisting an ankle on a lot of this stuff, as great as it all is and was, and so forth. And I have slowly been able to sell some items on eBay, although stuff isn't disappearing as quickly as I wanted it to, and I'm not getting what I wanted for it, but I guess it beats the alternative of getting nothing for it and throwing it in the dumpster, that sort of thing. Anyway, let me pick up Frank, right? It was going to Jeff and then Frank. And Frank, if you can pick up Scott, that'd be great, because I think you kind of indicated you were wanting to roll along here too. W2SDR, K2XAM in the group.
Okay, Kevin, I don't think I'm going to be able to hear Scott. I heard him. I heard somebody, but I think yesterday or the day before he came in running 25 watts, and then he put his amplifier on, but it's very late in the day for me to hear somebody that's that far away with low power. But Scott, if you can hear me, good morning. I'll make this my final. I have a book around here somewhere from a woman that wrote a book. It wasn't quite 6 months to get rid of things. I mean, it was more 2 or 3 years. And of course, it didn't concern, mementos, like pictures of your mother or stuff like that to get rid of. I mean, it was just regular stuff. And mentally keep an eye on things that are around here, around your place that you look at that you haven't used in a year or two. And you haven't any conscious plans on using them. Those are the things that should go. And I'll tell you, if I can't find something that I know I have, it's not like a tremendous value, but I'll only spend a certain amount of time looking for it, and I'll buy another one. I mean, if I want it badly enough, I'm not going to spend half a day to look for something that I could buy new for $10. My time is worth more than that, and so that's a whole other thing. Losing things, and putting things back where you got them, and all of that. I mean, that's all human being stuff, that people mess with, and and all. So it's just goes on and on and on. You just have to do the best you can. And, collecting stuff or hoarding, whatever category you want to put things in, it makes people feel good that they have stuff. You know, that they have something. You know, this is what I have, and it's mine, and I can move it around, and I know I have it. It makes you feel good to have stuff, a lot of stuff. With certain people, it makes them feel better than others. But it's all good. All right, well, I'm going to get out of here. 7-3. I was turning it to Jeff. I don't know if he's still. Oh, Scott. Let me turn it to Scott. And we'll see if. Oh, and Gary, just one comment about the net. I mean, I really like a lot of those guys. But, and you're right about the pre-net. But every time I've tried to get into the pre-net and have a couple of back and forths, that one guy gets in there and he's got to chime in with his opinion on everything and bully his way into the conversation. And it's all I could do not to tell him just to shut up for a change. Okay. It's probably me. I'll take blame for being sensitive or whatever, but I can't compete with that guy in the pre-net. It's no fun when you want to have conversations or mention certain things to people when you got to fight to get a word in edgewise. I'm just not going to do it. And that's my problem with the pre-net. It never fails. Every time I try to get in to say hello to somebody and go back and forth a little bit, this guy gets in there and he's got to comment on everything, and that's the end of it. Okay. See you guys later. Go ahead, Scott. Have a great day, everyone. Enjoyed it as always. W2SDR.
A1G.
That's a QSO hijacker, Frank.
That's right.
And we got Chris, I just heard in there.
I am not running 25 watts, so, but I don't know if this is enough. Everybody may be running more, and signals are down today. This is W1MYQ. How am I doing, or am I, as Tim would say, piss weak?
Doing great, Scott. I must have just caught you on a fade. You're 10 over. Beautiful signal.
20 over, Vermont.
We're here in Fairfield, too.
Oh, okay, very good. And say hi to everybody, Steve. I'm terrible with names. And after I've QSO'd with somebody, I don't know, 20 times, I have it down by then, but I am terrible by names. I'm on some spectrum. I'm told I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to say I'm neurodiverse. And always have been. But from what I hear that's been being talked about in here, having a hijacker, no fun at all. It's all well and good to give your opinion, but jumping all over everybody, if that's what he does, if he's just shooting his mouth off, well, I guess that should be allowed anyway. 6 months junk rule. That was funny. You have to get rid of your mowers and snow blowers and all that sort of thing. But I don't think that's what's meant by that rule. I think it's kind of a little different, trying to get things real early in the process of not using them. But I don't know that 6 months is enough to indicate to me I don't use something. But, a couple of years probably is. If you've gone a couple of years or so without using something, it's probably suspect you could get rid of it. And I know people that do that, and they claim to have great success. I have to say I do have junk around here that I could get rid of. It's not so much with the ham radio. I've really pared that down, but with other older electronics and stuff in general, and I need to eBay it away. And a dumpster just bothers me, the idea of just burying all the stuff that we're not using. I don't think that's great for the environment, but that's just me. Speaking of junk, I want to get a shack monitor. Maybe anybody in here will have a suggestion on this, but I don't want to spend a mint on it. What's a mint? Well, a mint is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If there's something like $500 and under that I could get that would be a monitor, that is to say I could sit and look at my signal right now after it comes out of this linear and make sure I'm not flat topping and all that stuff I'm not supposed to do. Instead of guesstimating it, that would be really nice. I noticed that when I looked that sort of thing up on eBay, what comes up overwhelmingly, I mean very overwhelmingly, is the Heathkit the station monitor 610 and the solid state one 614, and they are selling for very reasonable prices, but they all say parts only, only powers up. Not a one ever says working. So I don't know how. I'm going to keep monitoring. Maybe someday there'll be one of them that somebody has recapped, fixed up, and is actually passing along, or an estate sale or some other thing. And I'll be able to get one that has been fixed. Could I fix it? Yes. Do I want to? No. I have many other interests in life, and I'm sorry, building and fixing just isn't one anymore. I've got a lot of other things. I could go on about that, but I'm smart enough. I was an electronic technician. I could do it, but it's a time thing. And fixing is a time sink. And I know people love to do it, and yeah, I'm just not that much into fixing a lot of stuff. I guess I'm an operator these days. Didn't used to be. So I want to buy something. What's good? Any suggestions? Welcome. Something, let's say $500 and less, or even if you know very expensive, I'll listen. But I probably won't be as interested in that. And so I guess that's it. I don't know who this goes to next, but I'm just happy to be being heard of late. This is WA1NYQ. Maybe Steve, GMM, if you're hearing me, go ahead.
Okay, here.
Okay, was that Chris just checked in?
It still is.
Okay, Chris, gotcha. I hate being the ringleader. I'm gonna put you in. I don't know. Is Jeff still in here? I don't know if Jeff checked out. So let's get you in after Kevin, and then back to Scott. And this is probably going to be my last go. K1GMM. Yes, Gary, I chuckled when you said that because, yeah, it's a seasonal thing. Seasonal equipment, stuff like that. No, that doesn't apply. But, just as an example, you take a guitar player, right? And he plays a specific genre of music, and he's got like 6 guitars for 6 different genres of music. Now, he doesn't play all those different types of music. So, and let's say he hand builds all his guitars. So he's got specific pickups and electronics built into it, a specific fretboard for the tone. Maybe it's a maple or, something like that. He doesn't use them. They've been sitting there for freaking 5 years. Well, what's the point of having them? So yeah, Jeff would sell them. He gets rid of them. He's down to 1 guitar, 1 bass guitar, 1 keyboard with the software that goes with it. That's it. Everything's done direct. He didn't use his amplifier for a long time. So he's like, screw this. I'll get rid of this too. So that's kind of an example. You know what I mean? You keep stuff thinking you're going to use it again, and you never do. Now, a lot of people, when they're off-roading, they use, not a lot anymore, CB. So I have a CB going in the Jeep. And I'm fortunate because I didn't sell my little Bearcat. So that's an example of hoarding. I've had the Bearcat for 15 years, and it's sitting on the shelf, and that's going in the Jeep. Thank God I kept it. I don't have to spend money on it. So there you go. I am the hoarder and king. Then you got FRS and GMRS. I do have a 2-meter radio, which is going in as well for repeaters. I can spank some repeaters if I have to, if I have an emergency situation and I'm out alone where there's no cell service. So that's handy. So the friggin' Jeep will look like a porcupine by the time I'm done, unfortunately. So that's it for me. I'll put it over to you, Gary. And, excuse me, you guys have a great day. And I guess after Kevin, it'll go over to Chris. So it's me, Gary, Kevin, Chris. See you guys later. Have a good one. I'm out of here. I'm pulling the plug on the stream, too. If you guys want to see what it looks like, you want to hear yourselves, there you go. Great copy on everybody this morning. Scott, by the way, you're 20 over. And absolutely, wait till you hear your audio. It is absolutely banging. Really clear. No distortion. Nothing. Is absolutely phenomenal. Love listening to it. Also, Gary, Kevin, that speaks for themselves. We'll catch you guys later. 7-3. K1 GMM.
All right, yeah. I had a little difficulty here. So let me bring in Chris. Chris, pick it up and then send it back to me if anyone's hearing me. K1IC. Go ahead, Chris.